Shout out to the Mailroom Nation and the Mailroom Goons. I am Professor Melly Mail, the Hood Postman. Wait till a couple of people get up in here so I can try to give this little monologue and hope you guys receive it. That is be informative, that it land in a way that is embracing, considerate, kind, and has integrity and honesty associated and attached to it. I appreciate you guys. Shout out to the Mailroom Nation and the Mailroom Goons and everybody that always that's managed to find a way to listen to whatever things I have to say and take into account that we're not living in a like a normal setting. You know, it's just man, it's crazy how we get into these things and we. Shout out to Joe Farrell. What's going on with you, bro? How you doing today? you know, we cannot continue to normalize black trauma in the sense that we just think that because we can do all these things we do with the internet and the slandering, the backbiting, the deception, the dishonesty, the lying, and discrediting and everybody that you feel that you need to discredit on the internet. In our culture, right, a madness has taken hold where the internet is assaults seem to unfold and excuses, participation, intertwine as if we're dancing on a dangerous line. But keep in mind, folks, COINTELPRO is in the flow. COINTELPRO is in the flow. The reason why it's in the flow because since the beginning, since the time we even left the coast of Africa or we was already indigenous to this land, black brutality, police, and militia has always been weaponized against our culture. And it's so weaponized that now that it's so embedded and dig down into our culture that now it's on autopilot. Autopilot in the sense that we do it to ourselves now. They don't have to do it. It just seems automatic. Sean Prince, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to Jersey. Matter of fact, shout out to New York and Jersey for me overstating what you guys' position is as far as standing behind certain entities and being part of certain platforms. At one time, let me say this too. At one time, we all believed in the Renaissance and that black culture, that real dynamic black culture that came out of Harlem, New York, and Brooklyn, because you guys were at the forefront of a lot of things, and we like the science, we like the teachers, we like the 7-5 and 5 percenters, and all those individuals that was teaching over there and teaching about black culture and somehow they have taken on the dynamics and persona of being either keyway or blood. But that's not what we're here today. I just wanted to say that to them. It has become a form of internet suicide, is what I'm saying, and how I review it. Because I talked to a couple of psychologists, one in particular who has a master's degree in psychology, a very well studied individual, has enormous case studies about our culture and how it is perceived and the perception and experience of reality of it. And it has become a suicide, internet suicide, where empathy and reason and are cast aside. I'm gonna say that again, where empathy and reason are cast aside. The normalization of toxic trend leads us down a path we cannot mend. It is leading us down this path to where we're constantly battling and fighting these things. But and we all know that the truth, a lie has speed and the truth has endurance. But when is the truth going to show up and shine and take the forefront and be right there in front for all to see? Because what's happening is a lot of people sit wherever they sit and say whatever they say. It's nothing you can even say or even come in contact with a lot of these people. They get the chance to believe what they believe and say what they say over the internet, and there's no accountability for it. None. Only thing we can hope is that people come on here and have some type of honesty, integrity about themselves, and say things that's going to build our culture and build us in a way that's going to be fruitful, and it's going to enjoin all us in a way that we all can just enjoy one another based on who we are and the things we've been through. So again, we can't keep normalizing Black trauma, but let us not surrender to the plight. We can't surrender to it, for there is still a chance to make things right. But we have to get it. We have to be in the fight to make it right. We must we must rise above the break the chains. We got to rise above the nonsense and break the chains, and choose compassion and empathy and refrain. We got to refrain from certain things that we know that's bad, because here, as humans, we have very, 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 very highly addictive natures. And anything you give yourself to daily or on an hourly basis, or just you give yourself to every day, becomes somewhat of your God. It becomes what you believe and what you tend to give into every day. So we got to be careful of that. And we got to foster a culture where respect is key. That's what we got to do. We got to foster a culture where respect is key. Where online assault ceased to be, and assault ceased to be. That's I just want it, because here's the thing. And we go back and look at all the brutality and everything we've been through, and now we just do it to ourselves. It's kind of like ridiculous to me. I mean, if you really think it, if you read some of the things I read and studied some of the things I studied, and look at all the professors and all the people that's like have PhDs and masters that really delve into this stuff, they really, really, really understand it a great deal more than people just walking around on the street and just making up things as they go. And just crazy. We gotta stop contributing to the nonsense, and we just have to help us wake up. We gotta help each other wake up. So let's not regret the insanity and lure and strife of a culture that is pure. Together we can reshape this digital land, and with understanding unity hand in hand, we can be a lot better than where we at today. And I know, people like, shout out to Mike, King Mike. I see you in there, 702. I see you, Sean Prince and Jersey, of course, Joe Farrell, and everybody's in there. I know people, they tend to listen rather than press a thumbs up, or even leave a comment, because sometimes when you saying things that people don't want to hear, and they believe that that whatever their circumference of knowledge and understanding, they believe that's what it is. They don't want to hear anything outside of that. They just rather stay within that grouping and be part of the nonsense, and just continue to work in that area. But we gotta find a way to surrender that. We gotta find a way to get out of that trauma, because the trauma has been going on for over 400 years plus. And we still, you think with all the modernization and everything we've been, we think about all the accolades and achievements, all the great people that's come out of Compton, all the great people that's come out of Brooklyn, Harlem, all the great people that's come out of Dallas, Houston, DC, Baltimore, and all the great places, Atlanta, with all this, just, we leading the way in fashion, music, entertainment. We're the most highly sought after group of people when it comes to that. But yet, man, we'll go to a cookout and fight like cats and dogs. Or we'll go to a picnic and just be having a great time. And I talked about this with Gangster. I was asking Gangster, what was the thing about the lowrider community, where everybody tend to come out to the lowrider community, and it'd be Latinos, it'd be blacks, it'd be whites, and it'd be Damus and Kiwis and, and all sorts of kind of people from all costs, walks of life, just enjoying the cars and looking at the 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 time and effort it took to put the paint and the chrome and do all these patterns and do everything they do to these lowriders. And I asked him, what is it about that the people seem to just that seems to be a calm or that seems to be a hands off. Maybe we need to get more, outings based on car shows and people coming out and looking at the cars and get more into that. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out because and we keep traveling down the rabbit hole that we're traveling down this internet thing and we keep beating each other up or we keep outing each other on circumstances that necessarily don't fit or because we got personal vendettas or we got agendas that we're trying to iron out instead of going, having a conversation, building rapport and just getting to know individuals. I think that if we did that, we can be a lot better in the spaces we in can become more calmer and safer and we can show our kids that they don't necessarily have to follow down those old trails and paths that we went down. Like I say, I'm 65 now, and the things that I saw back then are nowhere near what it is today because once the streets died once everybody got on the internet. But everybody got on the internet not for the same reason. There's different reasons why people got on this internet. Let me see. Keep your head up, Professor. The last ones will catch up later. The lost ones will catch up later. I'm hoping the cheesy pickers. I appreciate you, Professor, for this good knowledge. And shout out to the Shy. Man, Shy, let me drop a link in it because I know you can give some context to what I'm saying. Let me see, Shy. Hold on. Let me see. You can provide some context to what I am saying because I think it's important that we just figure out a way to just be better with one another and not get caught up. And if you can, Shy, I don't know if you can, you may be busy, I don't know. But there's a link in there if you can grab it. There's a link in there because here we're caught in a rut. We're like the dog that's chasing his tail. Anybody, you guys ever seen a dog that just spin around for the life? You would just sit there and watch that dog just spin around, chase its tail, knowing goodwill. Why is this dog doing this? What what would he would he do if he catch the tail? Would he bite it off his own tail? You know. So again, in our culture, a madness has taken hold where internet assaults seem to unfold. As as a bug that calls echoes. Google is working. Okay, Google, I'll get you. Shy is on Android. Chrome has a bug. Okay. Okay, Shy. Let me see. Add to the stage. Shy, can you hear me? Can you hear me,
Hey,
Shy?
hey, can you hear me, brother?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
can
can
hear
hear
you,
you.
bro. How you doing?
Okay, I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm great, bro. Just going through, whatever it is, because here, like I was telling people, I tend to read 2 and 3 books a week, and sometimes if not four. And I try to understand the dynamics of our culture and how it can improve and how it can be better. And I'm in contact with a couple of psychologists that have master's degrees, and they watch the show and they give me their notes, and I read what they're saying and how they're seeing what's taking place on the internet. And know this, Shy, it's really only taking place in our culture. We don't see white people, Asian people, Jewish people on the internet fighting and fussing and just throwing insults to one another.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, you're right. I mean, just when you made the comment about the low riding, I don't low ride myself, but I see things that I think there's something that everybody has in common that may not have started out with the animosity that maybe gangs have. And I think that's probably why um, that there's a common denominator with lowriding, because it didn't have that beginning hate, that beginning animosity, or this automatic, this guy's my enemy because of a color or because of the way he wears his hat. And I think that lowriding is something that brings everybody together, where they don't necessarily have to worry about, you know, watching my back, or I got to worry about these guys being up here, or the enemy this, that, the other. It's when it's almost like it's neutral. And I
Uh-huh.
think that's why a lot of people may have that thing in common, where so many people come together, maybe even motorcycle riding. Everybody
Yeah.
has that common thing that they love to do, whereas it's not based on hate. It's not based on if you're from this side, I automatically have to have some type of hate or animosity towards you. And I think that's kind of where that comes into play. Low riding, or car clubs and motorcycle riding. Yeah, it almost promotes like it does promote a brotherhood, but you don't have to worry about necessarily, well, I can't go in this place because I'm part of this car club, or whatever the case may be. And I think that's one of the biggest issues, especially in our culture.
Right.
We have so many things that's predicated on, I have to hate you. I have to hate something that looks like you, or something that you represent. And I think that's one of the issues when it
Yeah,
comes
it is.
to
It is.
a
It
lot of
truly
things
it
that
is.
we
Shout
do.
out to Damu Robbins for joining us. Yeah, and people don't understand, even if got my little Gucci shirt on, but
Okay.
people don't understand that Cointelpro is still alive. A lot of these law enforcement people are still weaponized to brutalize and attack and assault us in ways that we don't understand, because we're looking at the surface. We're not looking at what's underneath and what's coming from the side, or how they plan to do assault us, right? Because
Right.
their agenda, their overall agenda, is not let us succeed or pass them in what we do. Other words,
Right.
they want to remain on top and remain in charge, because if it ever flip, they know that it's going to be bad. It will be bad.
Right. Yeah. I do agree with that. Um, it's just unfortunate that sometimes I sit back and I think about, we use this almost like a dumping ground.
Uh-huh.
I tell people all the time that I talk to, that they trying to make us, our history as a people, a footnote in history, meaning that they want us to forget it, and they want people not just here but around the world to only see us as clowns, or to only see us as entertainers, to only see us as the people who always can just dance and act a fool all the time. But anything that's the opposite of what they see or what they perceive, they can't even accept it, even amongst our own. You'd be surprised. I'm sure you probably went through it too, but people, even with amongst our own, some of them will tease you or talk about you because you like to do things that's outside of what they say a black man or a black woman should be doing. Whether, like you said, whether it's reading, whether it's going to Barnes and Noble, going to the library, you trying to be this, or you trying to be that, or you think you this, or you different, or just make it seem like it's unusual or not normal for a black man to read. And it's unfortunately that has been normalized with our own culture.
Yeah, one of the things that Malcolm said, man, that always is always present in my mind, and how he talked about that, who picked our leaders, trumpet players, comics, and he talked about all these different people being these people and athletes. These people are not leaders, but
Right.
somehow and we the only people that got the trumpet player and the clown and and the sideshow guy as picked as leaders,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
somehow because they have a loud booming voice, or they have a braggadocious about them, or or they say this or that, and somehow they become, get, get to get
Yeah.
in and say what they say, and everybody else is kind of like, is this guy become the Pied Piper or something?
Yeah, it's like they our spokesman. Like Michael's dead on. They've chose these people to be our spokesman. It's like you said, I've never seen no other group of people who has their so-called leaders chosen for them.
Right.
I've never seen a white or Italian or Irish or Jewish or whatever leaders chosen for them out of a pool of entertainers, and we're the only people that that's got this perception that our only voice is those who are seen on television.
Uh-huh.
And the quiet as it kept, the reality is they're not necessarily leaders anyway. Is that they picked and chose, because the simple fact is, as soon as they say something that's not popular, a lot of that stuff could be snatched away from them, and that's
True.
not power. That's not power at all. So it's like they even limit it. We allow you to continue to make this little money, but the minute you step out of line, it's gonna be a problem. You know.
Yeah, you're right, man.
So
And we have to foster a culture where respect is key. You know, that's for the
mhm,
most part.
yeah,
We
yeah,
and because and then online assaults, we have to cease that. We have to just eradicate that altogether, because that's not nothing we can use. That's not nothing that's applicable or appliant in our culture, come out in a good way towards everybody. It's just not. I don't understand. It has become a form of internet suicide to me, to see some of these people the way they act. They're like, over a like, subscribe, and share, they're willing to risk everything. You know,
mhm,
and it
yeah.
to me, that's what come to mind. Is this guy trying to commit suicide or something, or is this really some trauma? This is some trauma based stuff that they really don't know how to navigate in the real world. So everything is in the matrix.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just people. Sometimes people always say that whatever you are when you have nothing, you just a bigger whatever that is when you get something. And sometimes
Ah,
people, I believe, they find a lane that they feel like they're good at, no matter if good or bad, and they continue to push it because it's bringing them maybe some type of fame, it's bringing them some type of a few coins, but they don't sit back and see the long term effects of that, and what's the end game behind your trolling? What's the end game behind your whatever else you're doing? What's the
hmm
end game? A lot of
hmm
people, I think sometimes the internet is a gift and a curse. Some people unfortunately found a lane where any other time and place in their lives they wouldn't even be heard, wouldn't nobody take them serious. But because they found something that goes out to the world, and they found like people like drama, people like mess, people like BS, and it's they giving it to them, and that's what they like because they know it sells. It's a clickbait. It's views. It's they can promote their own whatever it is they promoting, and this is just the avenue to do it. Unfortunately, um, and there's no limit to it because it's something that they've always wanted. It's like a drug. Attention is a drug, and
Yeah,
we can clearly see that a lot of people is getting high off of it. Unfortunately, good or
yeah,
bad.
yeah,
And that's kind of what that is. It's
yeah.
sad.
That's Yeah, it's unfortunate, bro. You know what I mean? But if we reshape this digital world, this digital land with understanding and unity, and we work hand in hand, I think we can change the direction, or we can kind of have a more handle on, as what we do, in our culture, and I think that's probably one of the biggest problems, is that we don't have, if you ask somebody, who are you? Okay, they might say I'm black, or they might say this or that. I'm Hebrew Israelite, or they might say I'm a Muslim, or none of that. But where is our country? If I'm black, where's black at? Where's the country of black at?
Yeah.
Where's where do our culture? Who gave us that culture for us to define it in the way we did, and embrace it, and then we just, but it's so, and I really don't know how to explain it. All I know is what I feel about it, because a lot about what history is not only what happened, but how you think about it, or how you feel about it. So sometimes we have to get into these deep discussions and trying to feel, because when we think about it, we really like a lost people, just wandering in the North America, trying to gain access in what we call the American way, but at the same time, we're being rejected at every place, space, in everyday activity that we find there's some type of shadiness or racism, and then we get these people that say, I'm a real ninja, I'm a real this. But so what is real? I'm gonna need you to be a little clear about what real is, because there's real shady, real greedy, real false, real scandalous, real dirty.
Hmm.
Real can be many things, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I totally agree. I'm reading this book right now. It's called Euro Whiteness, and basically he just talking about how you. To make a long story short, you had Europe and the Europeans and the different groups that came out of Europe, how they have attempted to try to shape the world into their image. Uh,
Hmm.
in Europe, they all considered
What
Europeans,
is what is that? What
but
is the name of? Let me write it down. Euro who?
it's called Euro Whiteness.
I think I've seen that book too.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
couple
got
of
it.
books. Yeah, and I'll send you the author when I get off here. But he just basically describing how whether they're European in Europe, but they French, they're British, they're Irish, and whatever, and they're trying to shape the world in their French, Irish, or British image. And this is it kind of goes back to when you said that talked about slavery and how over here in the United States is that in Europe they may be considered French, so on and so forth, but here in the United States they're classified as white,
Right.
regardless of what background or what group you come from. And nationalism, he talked about nationalism, and nationalism is automatically exclusive. So if you're
Hmm.
not in this category of white, you automatically excluded from rights. You automatically excluded from humanity. You automatically my enemy, so to speak, because you don't fit my group. And what he was saying is that yeah, we have an idea that we all civic as far as we live in the same state, we live in the same city, we live in the same country, but you're naturally different from I am. So
Hmm.
you don't have no rights to this because this is the tone, the standard that we set. And I kind of, to make a long story short, I kind of see that same thing when it comes to the media. They have set a tone about how far we can go, how far we can tell our story without them interfering with it, or how far you could be, what light you could be seen as. You can't be seen too positive. You got to have some type of negativity in there, and it goes back with that whole. A lot of these guys have to dress up in dresses, and a lot of these guys have to take on these roles that's always stereotypical of black men and black women, but you very rarely get these positive roles. So we're going to produce your image to the world how we want to, how we want to show your image to the world, not the way you want to see it. And then that's what I mean. Goes back to that control factor of our culture. It was a guy years ago. He wrote a book. His name was Harold Cruz, and a lot of people didn't like him back in the day because they said he was too controversial. But one thing that he said in his book, he said that black people in the United States, since we don't have necessarily control of uh, oil, we don't have necessarily control of law. He said one thing that we can control as a people is our arts, is our image and our culture. He said that's the only thing that we really have to hang on. He wrote this book back in the '60s. He said if we lose the ability to find ourselves, we pretty much done. And he predicted this back in the '50s and '60s when he was writing this stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's a sense of culture
so
conditioning, where you
yeah,
underestimated or marginalized and undervalued, you know. But the
yeah,
but the
yeah,
crazy part about that Shy is now that where they was doing it, now it's automatic amongst us
yeah.
to where we tear each other down. They don't have to
Oh
do
yeah.
it anymore.
No, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
And,
definitely on
and know
autopilot.
this, guys, know this. And I hate to say it like this, and I'm gonna use this word. I don't generally use this word. Niggas was created in America.
Mm-hmm.
The nigga was created in America. It don't exist nowhere else, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for you to take it, embrace it, and do what you do with it, but still the original thought behind it and how it was is still in place. And you're acting out because once again, Malcolm said trumpet players, clowns, entertainers, and he had a couple of more. They are not your leaders. They're
Yeah.
entertainers.
Yep.
And no other group of people or culture look at these because here's the thing, and I'm gonna get on the ladies too a little bit. Black women are the only ones running around talking about black and independent. All other women in the cultures get behind their men. They let their men lead. We cannot afford to let what we see because when we think about what is the ethnic identity of our culture, and then what's flashing around the world is a sexy red or Sukiana or something of that appeal. It's false. It's a false narrative. So they taking these false narratives, and even when we arguing and fussing and fighting and whatever we doing and engaging on the internet, they're able to take these false narratives and blast them around the world. And that's what people believe about us,
Yeah.
regardless of how
And
great we are.
yeah, exactly. And people just really underestimate how powerful images are, you know, and this internet, TV, movies, music are very is very is very powerful. It's very powerful, and it really shape how people look at us for the rest of the world. That's why a lot of people, even when I go run into some Africans here in Texas, uh, I used to always be curious, like, man, how do y'all see Black Americans? And they tell me that they only see us from the standpoint of what they see in the media and what they see in
Yes,
television, what they
that is
see
the
on in
interpretation.
music, and, and exactly, and that's how they put us all in one category. And this just goes to show you just that it goes to show you how powerful image
Media
is.
is.
Yeah,
Shout
definitely.
out to Keith Anthony.
Def-
What's going on, Antonio? Johnny M. James, man, you're right, bro. I mean, but it's unfortunate, Johnny, that when we have these discussions like this here, they rather run to trauma, misery, mess, and just outright detriment to what we're doing. They like that. Some people are just very attracted to that. And like I said, and you saw at the beginning of my title with how we can't afford to keep basically normalizing trauma in our culture. Why we can't keep normalizing Black culture trauma? We
Mhm.
can't. We can't afford to keep doing that, bro.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely seems like it's on autopilot. And like you said, it's very little that they have to do now. So now I believe it's getting to a point where they really don't. They feel like they don't really need us as much anymore. So that's when we start to see all these other entities like the immigration start to come into play now, because this little certain segment of Black people that are waking up and that's are, trying to hold them accountable for votes or whatever the case may be. Now they get desperate to the point now they need a buffer class. So now we starting to see the influx of the buffer class that's kind of here to knock us down to third or fourth, because now some sectors of Black people now are starting to hold certain people accountable, and that's something they're not used to. So now they need a more willing participant to kind of put us on the back burner, because you know when you start waking up, as people will say, these sleeping giants, when you start waking them up, then you starting to see a new person, you start to see new demands, you starting to see things that we're gonna not vote for you if you don't do certain amount of things that we ask you to do, or if you don't do what you say you're gonna do, you're not gonna be in this position no more. So now we get to the point now it's almost like it's our removal time now. It's almost like we're a
Uh,
dumping ground. So We definitely at a consistent war, in a consistent war, with so
Yeah,
many
you're
different
right.
entities, and unfortunately, amongst ourselves as well. Uh,
Yeah, I believe that truth and unconditional love will have the final say. So that's just what I believe. Because here's one of my weaknesses, right? One of my weaknesses, Shy, is that I see the best in people way before I see the worst. I don't know. I don't know why I'm made up that way, but that's just who I am. And I'm not going to. That I can literally see somebody who's doing some ridiculous and crazy, but there's something in my mind thinks that I can change this person, or I can help this person find his way, or I can be an aid in this person's life to where they can, change the direction in which they're going in. And sometimes that becomes problematic for me because I see it in those terms. I don't know. I don't know. Is it, like you say, it's a gift and a curse, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I had I'm kind of like that too, but then I don't go too deep into it because I'm at a point now in my life where I try to see the best in people, but I also believe them what they say about it and what they show me as well. Because you got some people who see the best and they continue to try to see the best, they continue to try to see the best, and before you know it, it's like now you behind because now this person is kind of not, not saying you, of course, but I know people who not at that
Yeah, yeah,
point in
yeah.
their life where they're not able to kind of separate or balance that mentality. So I
Shout out
kind
to
of see
Stan the
people how
man
they,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'm listening.
I just kind of see how people, I believe people with what they show me and what they tell me about themselves. It's like, okay, that's where you stand. That's why I believe you now. Now I know how to deal with you going forward. There's nothing that you
And
do that will or will not surprise me.
I want to continue to drop this jewel too because this is very poignant and important that I continue to say this, and I'm gonna say it again. The problem is not that black people are uneducated. The problem is that they're educated just enough to believe what they've been taught and not educated enough to question what they've been taught. And there lies the problem of our
Mhm,
culture because we such a get along people that even if we go into some of these churches and some of these education, we understand that they're just pipelines to lead
mhm,
to other institutions that's not necessarily fair to us, and we don't understand that if we don't go get an education that's outside of the United States, quote unquote, what you got from the United States. Other words, I'm what you call autodidact. Autodidact is kind of self-taught, a person that was inspired by somebody that I may have saw speaking or saying some things in regards to our culture, and it made me curious, so it made me go fact check. It made me go do statements of facts. It made me do research and gather data. And once I started doing that, it became my choice of drug. In other words, I start really like consuming all this different information and cross reference and looking at things and like, wow, I didn't know this. Like one of the things I go to is blackdemographics.com. Blackdemographics.com. It'll tell you right off that 54% of black men are single and childless. 54%. 61% are in the middle class. 61% of black men are in the middle class. So it also tells me that 20% of black men are responsible for all the kids in the United States. So that means there's another 80% of men that actually that's not having kids. So it's a lot of statistics. And I know it sounds like out there, but when you read this stuff and you getting it from some black scholars, some black professors, some black academias and PhDs, and they gathering this information. And when you look at the other information that's being applied and put out there, you be like, wow, this propaganda machine is really real. And they really squash the numbers and they tell you that you only 13% of the the population when actually you more than even that. So
mhm,
the numbers they play the numbers game really well in this country, really, really, really well.
Yeah,
And I
they
didn't mean to
definitely.
take up all that airspace. I know I said a lot, but I just had
Oh no,
sometimes when you get on the road.
no, I think you hit a very critical point because, like you said, they will have you thinking that black men don't take care of their children. They have you thinking that black men are the one leading in divorce. They have you thinking all this stuff. But like you said, when you start thinking and digging for yourself information, you start to realize that this is another form of warfare. Propaganda, imaging. That's just another form of warfare that we up against because again, they want to push this idea that somehow that we are subhuman. I mean, that's just what it is. A lot of people may have a disagreement with that, but the reality is we are in a psychological war. And I think we're going to continue to be in a psychological war. And just to kind of piggyback on what you said earlier about education, when you said that we're not pretty much taught to think, and you're right, and really that was the purpose of education in the
Uh-huh.
Western sense, is to not have you think. This is why they invented kindergartens. This is why they invented the first grade, because they felt like if we could get you at that age when you start head start and kindergarten, we don't have to worry about you becoming a thinking adult. And that's something that a lot of us are not privy to understanding the educational system. And it's important to get that education at home from hopefully your parents or somebody just as influential who does have that mentality. Hey, do this research on your own. Don't just take what they tell you for face value. Go behind them and see what they saying is correct, so you can put it in its proper context. Again, that we're just up against so much, and education was not created to quote unquote educate us. It was to tell us how to think, what the state approved of what you can learn, to never question, but this is the information that we approve that you can learn, and this is what you're supposed to use throughout your life. That's pretty much what the educational system was really for in the Western sense.
Yeah,
So,
unfortunately, yes, yes, true. And we fall for it, and I just say we because we all have had a part of it. It's just that some of us was able to navigate out of that maze,
mhm.
because in order to know the truth, you got to first take the lies out and then
Yeah,
replace it with the truth.
yeah, yeah, totally agree. Totally agree. Yeah,
What's
it,
your
it,
day
it
like today, bro?
you talking to
Shy?
me?
Yeah.
I'm
What
sorry,
you
you can
got
repeat
going
that?
today?
Oh, nothing much. I'm right here. I'm at my little part-time job, man. I'm just at this ready to get off. I get off at 5, so I'm just relaxing today. Ain't too much going on. The guys in there playing basketball, so I wasn't
Okay.
doing nothing. I was listening to you watching
Okay.
them play basketball, so that's why you told me to click
Right,
on. I
right, right,
came to
right.
another room, so yeah.
And that's
Other than
another
that,
thing.
man,
That's
that's it.
another. I mean, I understand that we're gonna let the guys that play basketball, but we also need our engineers and our doctors and our lawyers and our other people that do these other things. We need to be them. They need to be at the forefront as well. We enjoy our basketball players and football players and guys that entertain, but we need our scholars to be up front. We got to
Yeah,
quit putting the worst of our people to the front and putting the best of our people to the back. We got to put those guys, those engineers, those doctors, those lawyers, those scholars, those PhDs and academians and all these people need to be up front because they really understand what's going on to us, but their message gets so drowned out, you
oh
know.
yeah, you definitely right. I got a example of that, brother. When I was going for my master's, somehow I was in a philosophy class, some class I was in, and this teacher had the nerve to say, somehow we got on the Cosby Show at the time,
Uh-huh.
and somehow she had the nerve to say that, well, we can't believe the Cosby Show because that's not necessarily a reality for, basically she was saying, for black people. And I said, so you don't think that there's a lot of black doctors and the black lawyers that's out here living like the Cosbys? I said, you don't think that a lot of black people don't live like that? She said, well, not really. And this is a college teacher. So
And this was
I
a black
forgot.
person?
No, this was a white lady
Oh, well,
that
okay.
said that, which wasn't surprising, but just the galls to say this in class, as if Cosby Show is just somehow some fiction that ain't no black people, or very seldom few black people live like that. And I'm like, lady,
Right.
you got to get out your comfort zone and stop seeing it from your lens to see that you got a whole lot of black people that actually live like the Cosbys, that have the same occupations they had in the show. So
Uh-huh.
you ain't pulling that one off on me. I forgot what I told her. I don't think she pretty much liked me after that. But the point is that you had a professor actually say this to college students. So it wasn't surprising to me, but I always think that, okay, if I was a black man that didn't know a lot or really believe what she told me, then how would that would affect me long term, even in college?
Uh-huh.
So like you said, this imaging and getting putting the best of us in the forefront, is important and key. So you can give these young people coming up that, hey, you don't always have to be a rapper and basketball and football. You have so many other things you can do. Now you might have to work as twice as hard because of the situations, but the fact of the matter is you can do it, and there are people like that does exist.
Right,
You
right.
know,
I'm
scientists.
gonna
I
take
mean,
the opportunity to bring this issue up too, because I think it's important, and it's to do with P Diddy, right? So P Diddy, this girl comes out after 2 or 3 years or whatever, not being with P Diddy. Now she's making all these accusations, right? But P Diddy, what people say what you will about him, good or bad, what he did understand is that he had to get out in front of it, and he also knew that he had to take care of it, and he did that in a timely and swift manner. And for that, I applaud him, because had he not done that, we all know what it was going to look like down the road if he would have just fought it and pretend like whatever she was making up, or even if she was making up, or even because we got to look at her. I don't know what her nationality is, but she kind of looked like she's on the white side of the game,
mhm.
so to speak. So with her making these accusations and saying what he's saying, he quickly got a hold of that certain situation and went in there, and they came to an immediate. And I'm sure he paid her whatever she wanted to get paid, and I'm pretty sure that he had her sign some documents that it'll never come up, and he's out the way now. Whatever anybody else believe about that brother, or don't believe, I still had to take my hat off of him for initially just going in there and squashing it and getting out the way. So, and I'm gonna add this to it too, Shy, is that what people don't understand, that people think they want money and they think they want millions of dollars, but once you get millions of dollars, million of problems come with millions of dollars. So what happens is that you get into these book and street smart. Shout out to you, bro. We get into these situations where we run out. You have so much money, you can virtually do anything you want and how you want and when you want to do it, right? But what happens, because we have such addictive natures as humans, we run out of things to do. And when you run out of things to do and you got a lot of money, it will get weird, bro. It has happened to Prince. It has happened to Michael Jackson. It has happened to many people that had millions of dollars. Look at the guy, and that's not only black people, there's white people that have millions of dollars that tend to get way out there, way out there. And I just named a few because we're talking about black people right now. But know this, Schoolcraft, what's happening, man? Know that more money, more problems. You got that
Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
shout out to Diddy for getting out in front of it, taking care of it. I'm not on his side or her side, none of that. I'm just calling balls and strikes. And I just say he did the right thing by getting out in front of it and take care of it.
yeah.
It didn't even go through a 24-hour cycle before he took care of
Yeah, I
it.
guess his lawyers told him good. But
Yes.
I sit back and I look at all these athletes and all these entertainers who get into all this trouble. Like you said, it ain't just the black ones; it's just the black ones get more highlighted. The white ones, they for some reason their stuff is not shared as bright as black people when they get into
Uh-huh.
problems when they have all that money. But uh, even when it comes to these football players, and I talk to my girlfriend all the time. I say, man, it goes to show you that sometimes money make people feel like they're invincible. I think when they
True.
have money, both black and white, a lot of them, they feel like that nothing can happen to them, or this can't happen to me, or I can make it just go away. But they don't realize that if they want to hold this stuff over your head, these people, I believe some of these women are sent into some of these guys' lives. I believe a lot of it is strategic. On one hand, I do. On the other hand, I just think that these guys pretty much feel they could do, whatever that they want to do. And I think
Look
that's
what
when
Kanye said. Kanye said he had a dream that he could buy his way into heaven. And when he awoke, he spent it on a necklace.
yeah, he did say that, did
Yes. Well,
yeah,
but facts.
yeah, yeah. That's the trap they fall into.
Yes.
That's the trap. They try the
Yes.
feeling of invisibility, and it gets them in
Right.
trouble all the time.
Right.
Uh,
Let's see. You see, Ron. Ron don't have issues. He kept his high school girl. Are you talking about LeBron? Or when he get his money, he grabbed gold diggers and women with motives, or when he get money and grab. Well, I don't know who you're talking about in regards to LeBron. I know LeBron did. LeBron is the perfect example. He married his high school sweetheart. He also did what he did was great. Was that he took his circle of guys that he had around him, his circle of trust. He put them all in the college, paid for
positions.
their tuition, and got them all educated. And once he got them all educated, he turned aspects of his business over to them. And now they're all equally footing as millionaires. They all have. He didn't just throw them fish. He taught them how to fish. And you applaud
Yeah,
LeBron for that because he saw it right. Regardless of how you feel about him, as far as him winning championships, that's a whole. I don't care if he won it, if he don't ever win another championship. The fact that he's still with that black girl, the fact
mhm.
that he saw to put his guys in college, educate them, and turn a portion of his business over to them, and now they're all built millionaires. And we can't take our what's the guy name Rich Paul.
Rich
Man,
Paul.
all those
Yeah,
guys were not educated, bro. They were not
and
educated, but they
and the
became
sad part
educated.
about exactly, and the sad part about that is that's exactly what they don't want. They don't want more LeBrons who will take his money to use it to benefit him and his friends in a positive way to make them powerful in a sense. They don't want that. And this is why I believe, regardless of what people say about him too, it may have a legit point on certain things. But I even look at Ice Cube. When Ice Cube tried to do what he's doing with the
The
what's
big
his
three,
league, the Big Three, the NBA is trying to fight to control that. So it's
yes,
like they tell us to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, but when black people are in position to make powerful moves, they attack that. So it just lets you know that no matter what angle we go at, we always going to be in a constant fight. We're going to be in a constant warfare because they don't want us competing economically. And that's why they
no,
don't want more LeBron James. They want these like PJ Washingtons who's just getting women pregnant and got to pay millions of dollars in child support. Those are the ones they want. They don't want the LeBrons and Ice Cubes
yeah,
when
they,
it comes
they
to
want
power
they want
moves.
more Joe Smiths with nasty girl over there doing whatever she doing. That's what
Yeah.
they want.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
that sister
true.
wrong for that, man. She's just wrong on so many levels. But it was his fault for engaging and indulging in that and thinking that he was going to be somehow change her mindset to be because that's another thing we got to do. We got to blow up. We got to blow up these mindset where average and mediocrity is acceptable. We got to blow up those mindsets. We would never manifest excellence if we don't blow up their mindsets. I'm just telling
Yeah,
you, we
yeah,
we make average and mediocrity acceptable. But
yeah.
brothers, sisters, we got to blow up those mindsets, man, and manifest. And we expect to manifest excellence.
Right. Yep. I agree. Totally. Totally.
Well,
Yeah,
shucks, Shy,
it's
I ain't gonna keep you, man. Thanks for the dialogue. Thanks for being a brother. Thanks for being the guy you are. Continue to grow and be the best man, you best version of yourself. Be good, be safe, and most of all, be well, man. I appreciate you, and we continue to grow, and we'll continue to dialogue. And anytime we get to join up on this medium, it's always with the most humble experience, and I respect it and I love it, bro. Continue to dialogue,
oh,
bro. Let me
yeah, sure. I appreciate you too, brother. You take care.
right on, bro.
All righty.
Peace and blessings, man, to you and the family.
Peace. You too.
All right. Salute to RO3. I see you in there, brother. RO3 was good. Get those likes up, man. What's happening, man? We just had a little open dialogue, man, and about black people and things and understanding where we at culturally. We've been culturally conditioned and just to believe certain things, and we're kind of like on autopilot with it. They don't have to do it to us no more. We do it to ourselves. But with that being said, we'll continue to do these dialogues. And RO3, we're gonna get a chance because I definitely want to bring you on, and because we got some things to do, bro. We got some things to do. Trust me. I'm gonna call you in a bit, and then we'll be able to I'll be able to open up more to you about what you and I gonna do. But you're gonna get your chance, bro. We gonna swing a big bat, bro. Trust and believe that. With that being said, I am Professor Melly Mel, the Hood Postman. Be sure to click the notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment down below. So when the dope content hit, it'll feel like it's the first of the 15th. Always remember, God, this is not a grammarization or glorification. It's always an education. Education in the sense that it is be geared and built towards our people. So it's just waking us up, giving you something else to think about, and just put something on your head, bro. And I appreciate you guys. With that being said, Mike Marks, we're gonna go ahead and lock the door because we are gone.